everybody. What's up? I'm Jayme Benningfield. This is Too Many Words, my podcast. I talk about myself for a while, and then I bring on a guest and talk to them. Today or tonight, whenever it is you're listening, I have the fabulous Christy Abrams on the show. She is the author of Little Miss Somebody, a very real and raw and beautiful story about growing up while inside a dysfunctional home. Christy also helps others, write their stories. She is a very inspiring woman, and we'll get to that conversation in a bit. Also, full disclaimer, during the conversation with Christy, you will hear my dog Jake chiming in. The loud, booming barks is his contribution to the show this week. It's part of the charm, not being in a soundproof room. I plan on being in one at some point, but I worry I'll have more trouble convincing myself to leave my office once it has the capability of being completely silent. It already, my office already messes with my sense of reality. It's darker and colder than any part of the house, and I'll have absolutely no idea what it's like outside at all for huge portions of the day. Summer is coming. For some, it is already here. Is everybody ready? Do you have your plans laid out? Are you going away? Are your kids set up with camps? Are you, hiking? Do you have goals this summer? Things you're going to try? I am not ready. I need to get ready. I couldn't be any less prepared. I have this list of places to call growing at a terrifying rate, and I keep glancing over at it and choking. I need to call. I need to call the pool and make sure that my kiddos have their spot in their swim club. And my original plan was switching my hours around so I could spend earlier in the day adventuring with them, kind of how I handled or how spring break handled me. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to pull it off. That being said, I have a pretty strong feeling that I will. And I don't know, August is, come August, if things continue to go according to plan, life around here is going to get pretty crazy, good crazy. Everything is building, which is good. And you throw enough nets out there, and the possibility of catching fish is just better. It's close to my meal time, so that might not be the only reference to food in this episode. Something about school coming to a close makes everything extra crazy. Emails from the classroom, parents, field trips, school parties, big projects, lack of focus, sunshine, energy. Everything's it's getting turned up. Things are brighter and longer and louder. Peer parent pressure and judgment is at a high at times like this. It's there. We all sense it and participate in it. I believe in kindness and teaching it, and the way to teach kids is to demonstrate it. And I'm not saying I don't judge other people. I do. Everybody does. It's human nature. It's, let's not forget we're all predators. But, I'm trying to be more understanding of others as I deal with my stuff. I'm reminding myself that others are dealing with their stuff. There's this one girl my daughter hangs out with. It's mainly because they have the mutual friends, and this girl isn't, she's not so nice to my kid and hurts her feelings a lot. And it's crazy to me because I honestly have the same trouble with her mother. Her mother, says offhanded remarks to me every chance she gets. And she's around a lot of the places I am. That's the thing. That's the thing about parenthood, because of kids and the kids they talk to and the world that they exist in. It means there's a lot of idle moments where, there's chit chat and note comparing. And I get it. I participate at times if I'm in the mood. What I don't understand is the bullying coming from adults. This can be toward other adults, kids, there's others. I was at 2 different kid performances where multiple parents were just loudly talking during the performances. If we expect kids to respect their environments, that has to come from us. All this small-minded teaching, it's crazy. There is this, and this one mom, she clearly disapproves of, my entire Jayme package. Which is fine. I realize I'm not for everyone. Everyone's not for me. I've known this for a while. But how about you don't get in my kid's ear about me not being in the classroom as much to help out? How about you don't point out the fact that I'm around less this year in the classroom than I have in the past to my 7-year-old, Like that might be nice. I try my best, and I don't always make the right decisions. I work too much. It's a sensitive subject for me. It's something I'm dealing with. It's my burden to bear at the moment. I want to do it all. And it drives me crazy though, the disrespect others have. Maybe I am, a little grumpier than I originally thought. But, and I'm spread a bit thin, but you know, which honestly I think I like. I like being crazy busy and, focused on my next plans, and you know I'm wrapped up. I wrapped up a lot last week. I currently don't have a manuscript in my possession that I'm working on at the moment for the first time in over a year. They're all with others, and which means it's time for me to get on my next list of projects that have been waiting patiently and nagging at my brain. And I'm nervous. I always get nervous when my work is being looked at by others, and I'm beginning to start new things. And I like it in the same way that I, like the nervous feeling before I talk to you guys, or, talk to a guest. And it's important to feel things. And I wish I could do a better job relaxing, and I'm not good at it. I'm not good at relaxing. I I realize this, and I know it's something that I work on. I'm trying to. I mean, there are some days I do a better job at it. I mean, yes, cracking open, 2 or 3 beers to help me unwind at night. No, that's not the best way I can handle it. But I'm aware that I have, this anxiety that I need to deal with, and this obsessive, I get obsessive about things, and I'm obsessive about my work right now. And part of me think that's I love it. It's beautiful, you know. I guess that might be a weird thing to say. My obsessive working is beautiful to me, but maybe that's why I'm doing it. And I'm just not good at it. I'm constantly planning and plotting, and it's lopsided right now. And it's a is it a cop out to just lean into it? Is this just the phase right now? I don't think so, but maybe it is. I don't know. And I haven't been sleeping that well, and I'm pretty good at falling asleep. I have falling asleep down, but then I have a dream or a really loud thought, and I'm wide awake, and my mind is just coping over all these ideas and these regrets and these have to do's, and then morning rolls around and I open my eyes and I feel like I got hit with a bag of bricks. You know, but then I have my coffee, and then I have my avocado chicken sausage breakfast thing that works for me, and I go through my day and my list, and I think for the most part I'm doing okay. It's just I don't know. There's change in the air. I feel it. I can smell it. That might make me sound, a little off, but it is. I change is change is among us. It's in the sunshine. Well, what do you say, guys? You ready to hear um my talk with the fabulous and awesome, inspiring Christy Abrams? It was a great convo, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, Christy, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you coming on. I 2 days ago I finished Little Miss Somebody, and I've been really looking forward to talking to you.
Oh
um,
wow! I didn't know that you had read the book. That's awesome.
oh well, I do. I like to read at least the my guest's most recent book, if they are an author. Being one myself, I know what goes in, and I like to tune in. But wow. I gotta say, the words that you put down, the whole thing as a whole, was so powerful. It must have been quite the journey to put that together.
Oh yeah, yes, it was quite a journey, especially since, I didn't set out to write that book. I just kind of was writing as a way of healing. I was working on something else and kind of journaling, and before I knew it, it was just like it turned into a story. And I was like, I might need to do something with this. So I went ahead and we put it together, and voila, you have a little Miss Somebody.
Wow. So you didn't actually initially set out to write the book. It just kind of started to take form without your permission.
Yeah, basically, because you know what? I tried to write my story so many times over the years, and it never would, I could never get it right because, I was so angry. I mean, there was just so many things going on. And then I would lose it, there's moves I just finally was just like, maybe it's just not meant for me to write this book. But, I went off to write other things, and, this book just kind of, she wanted her story to be told. So,
Wow.
before I knew it, it was just time. And I think it came from a very authentic place. And that's why the book is so powerful, because it's so authentic and so raw.
It
And it
really
wasn't
is.
anything that I planned. It was just kind of like, I'm ready. And, it came out.
That's awesome. That's so funny. I mean, the written word like that, I mean, there's some times where I'll just be staring at the computer and I'll be getting frustrated because, I was supposed to be working on this one thing.
Hmm.
And it's when you go off and do the other thing that that it comes to you.
Yeah. It's funny how it works, right?
So you were working on other things when that started. At what point did you know, you said you didn't at first set out to write it. When it started coming clear to you that it was a story, at what point did you decide to, take it down the path of publishing it?
I think it was after I had hit maybe chapter 4 or 5 that I was like, and it was, writing fiction, or it's not fiction to me because it's a really true story,
Right.
but writing a novel was very new. And, I had, blogs and written self-help, and, I kind of always have written in the pen of a muse, so it was very different. And so when I saw the story kind of coming to a point and unfolding, I said, I may need to get a coach. So I actually hired a literary coach,
Oh, really?
somebody who has written 19 books, all
Oh,
19 novels
wow.
at that. And he was very known, especially when it comes to like African American literature and things like that. And she loved the concept. I let her read a couple chapters. She was like, I'm absolutely going to take you on. And so it was such an honor to work with Dr. Maxine Thompson and let her, help me cultivate what Little Miss Somebody is today.
Oh, wow. So so this was, early on in the process is when you decided to take her on as a coach.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's I'm not super familiar with literary coaches. Could you how did she help you with the process and move forward?
Well, she's an literary agent. That's part of what she does. But
Okay.
she also edits, and but her specialty is um, novels, especially novels like my book. And she helped me to basically put the reader there. Like, she's really phenomenal at developmental editing, like very phenomenal at it. And she was just coaching me on like what how to set up a scene, and the things that perhaps the elements that may have been missing in that scene that I needed to work on, or just a dialogue between my characters. I mean, things like that you really don't think about goes into writing a book or writing a novel. You just kind of like, oh well, I guess these two people need to talk to each other. But she really helped me construct how that dialogue feels, how it smelled, how it all of that. She was really awesome at that.
That's awesome. The process of working with somebody during that sounds really beneficial.
Yes,
I
this is
mean, when I
very beneficial.
yeah, I mean, because I like what you were just, explaining that she helped you with. I often like have that conversation inside my own head with myself.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then, once I get to the content editing stage and I'm working with an editor in that process of, how to strengthen scenes. But during the creation process must be awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was an amazing opportunity to see my characters come to life. Before it's just okay. There's Nikki, and she's going through these rough things, and I didn't want to talk at the reader. I didn't want her story just to be another traumatic experience. I wanted people to really feel the character. I wanted to put people there. I wanted people to cry when they read it. I wanted them to get upset when they read it. I wanted them to laugh and be able to connect with some of the characters that
Yeah.
are in the book. And I think that we did a great job of doing that.
Well, I mean, that is something that stood out to me was everyone was just, all the characters were just so real, so genuine, like very authentic. It was really breathtaking.
And those characters are real people in my
Right.
life. They are, all those people are real people. The way that those I've described those people in that book, that's exactly how they are. It just, and just for someone to kind of get an idea of just the colorful people who are in my family. I mean, there's a lot of dysfunction, but we have good times. There are things that I miss about coming together and gathering with them that are so unique that I think that you have to be in that place in order to experience it. There's just something about having my family structure, even that type of family structure where there is that dysfunction. You got the crazy aunt, and you have maybe the addict uncle, or you have the grandmother with the secrets, or
Yeah.
whatever the situation is. I think that we all can relate to that type of family structure. And it just so happened that there was just all these other crummy things that happened in the interim that just kind of made the story very touching and also very gripping at the same time.
Definitely. Well, I mean, that is something that, stood out to me as like, as a thought is because I came from a very dysfunctional family, and I had, all various things. And I believe that, different aspects of people or issues or things that I felt have come through in, the fiction that I write. But for you, the journey and the things that you describe and show in your book, it kind of blows my mind, like as far as like what type of experience that was, for you to create that and put it out and then share it. It's, you know, pretty amazing.
Yeah, and thank you. It wasn't too far off from my real life, so it was very easy for me to come up with the concept and even the characters, because these are real people,
But
and these were my real life experiences. Only thing that I was, had to be taught how to do is to express it in a way where people can actually understand and relate. So, and put the people there, and all the things that she taught me to do, and while staying as true to myself as possible.
well, I mean, that's really cool that you're able to be so in touch with yourself and with, all of that to be able to do that. Like, I don't like, I think that's like, a various issue of mine will like come out in a superpower, but like you're able to like, just put it out there. And I mean, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Thank you.
And you coach people to do that, correct?
Yes, yes. I mean, I've just started, teaching people how to go through the process of telling their truths, and finding the power, because I meet women all the time, especially those who've read my book, who say, I've had things happen to me. I these women who have these stories to tell, who have lived through very traumatic experiences in their lives, and want to write a book about it and want to tell people about it, but don't know how. And a lot of them are still dealing with, just the aftermath of the things that happen when you go through traumatic experiences. And while, I'm not a counselor, I am in a position and I do relate to them in a way where I can understand what that's like. And I can coach them through that experience of moving past that and also expressing themselves in a holistic way.
And like in what different ways can you do that?
Well, I mean, you can do it so many different ways. I mean,
Yeah.
I journaled. That's what my
Yeah.
character did in a book. I still do that to this day. To this day, I still journal. There's ways, there's writing prompts, there's poetry, there's, this personal narrative of writing dialogue and being able to talk to maybe the person who you've had some issues with in your life. There's just learning how to express yourself in a holistic way, meaning just by talking
Yeah.
and express. I mean,
Totally.
there's so many ways to do it, and it's endless because any type of art to me is expression.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're writing something, whether you're drawing something, whether you're singing, whatever, it's all expression. It's all expression. And what my mission is to help them find the form of expression, the holistic expression that works for them and their current lifestyle and their current way that can help them, move past whatever's going on in their lives and heal.
That's really cool. I know personally journaling is it's how I work everything out. I mean, it's kind of amazing what you can do is it by just writing down a question.
Yeah, it
And
is. It's so powerful. And I tell you, another piece of this is for those of us who have experienced traumatic experiences, moving past and dealing with the family, like the boundaries piece. Like,
yeah.
because they shame you and they, when you get well, then they say, oh, or you need to get over it, or you shouldn't be talking about it, or why, my family, why are you telling our business? So I had to
Oh,
go through
wow.
varying levels of learning how to build boundaries and not having shame and guilt when
Yeah.
it came to my past experiences, because that's what a lot of them do. Some of them aren't ready to talk about their own stuff, and so they don't want you to talk about your stuff either. So, I mean, there is how do I deal with the toxic family members and how do I keep myself well through the process? So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's endless. I mean,
I don't
I
know if
think the
I
job
figured
of a
that out
survivor
yet.
is never over. I think that we're always processing and we're always going through these things that, you know, I guess they kind of shape our life in some way. So I mean, it's just a lot.
Well, it really is. And I mean, that's part of, and you're part of that. People that, come out and, share what they're really going through and what they've been through and, different hardships. It's so important because, for me personally, it wasn't until, and the Gravity imprint. I'm seeing
Yeah,
all these different authors coming out and sharing all this stuff. And I was like, wow,
yeah.
that seems freeing.
I mean, there were some really, really very brave people who were on that imprint. Like honestly, like the stories. I mean, in all different lifestyles, all different ways. Some people dealing with, sexual abuse. Some people dealing with domestic violence. Some people dealing with, trauma from their adolescent. I mean,
Hmm.
like it was just, and it was very soothing to be amongst people who had experienced similar things. I know all of our stories were different, but I mean, just to know that you weren't alone, I mean, it was so powerful.
Oh, definitely. Well, and life has its effect on everyone, and talking about that and bringing that together, it just it's important to remind everyone that we all deal with shit.
Yeah. Yes, we do in some way.
We
We're
all
all dealing
hurt.
with something,
Yeah,
and what matters, I think, is how you deal with it. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
are you carrying that baggage around with you through your life? Are you really fulfilling all parts of who you are,
Hmm.
or are you afraid to are you afraid to say what you need to say because you're scared that someone's going to judge you? And I think that tends to be the issue amongst survivors is if I say it, they're going to judge me. They're not going to understand it. They're going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
They're going to blame me. for the horrible things that happen. And that's really just, the old trauma talking.
Mhm. Well,
you
and
know
that, that itself, like getting past that is, it's something all to itself.
Yes, it is. And I will honestly say that writing my book, although it was a painful process, it really was. It was a painful process. I had to remember some stuff I forgot about. I
Oh
had
man.
to cry a little bit. I had to get mad. I had to ask questions. I had to really dig to get out what I needed to say. And I will tell you that I felt so liberated when it was done.
I bet.
I felt it was just kind of like, I don't know. It felt like, an actual weight was lifted off of me. It just felt like something was off my back. It felt like, I said it. It's done. And, it was so powerful to be in that position. And it's so powerful even every day. If I look at my book, just knowing it's out there,
Yeah.
it's so powerful. And then someone else is reading it, and can relate to it too. So, I mean, it's just a phenomenal experience.
I bet. I mean, and just, you know, just writing a novel is a process all its own as far as, different versions and editing it. So
Oh, yeah.
you take, all those experiences into that process. I mean, what an incredible way to process that.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
It's
what a,
wonderful.
yeah, it's really cool. Um, do you have anything in the works right now as far as, what you're working on writing wise?
Yes, I'm working on the sequel to Little Miss Somebody.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm working on that and trying to get it out. And there's so much. I don't think I can write enough books that can tell all of the things that's happened to me in my lifetime. And it's just there's so much. And I think that with each book, there's going to be a surprise, and there's going to be something that the reader's just going to be like, whoa, or I can relate to that, or that happened to someone I knew, or no, or a family member, whoever. And I'm just so excited to get it done and get it published so people can can read the next journey of Nikki.
Nice. And do like what part, where are you in the process with that right now?
I'm aiming to have it out probably late fall.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for.
I know, it's such
We
a,
all know what happens when we aim,
oh
when we're
man,
writers, and we get distracted and stuff
totally.
like that.
Well, and also just like, certain things, just like being able to like guess how long something's gonna take. I mean, I'll be like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I should wrap that up in, an afternoon, 2 weeks later.
And you know what? When you write about something that's so personal, I'll be honest. Sometimes it starts to feel like a little much, and you have to put it down.
Oh, I
And you need
bet.
to put it down for a little while, and then you pick it back up when you feel inspired.
Yeah.
And so it takes a little longer when you're writing about something that's so traumatic, especially when you're not in a place of anger and you're not in a place of despair. So you're not writing from that place of sorrow.
Yeah.
You're really writing from a healing space. So you're very attentive to how you're projecting your stuff to the reader. And I think that that's one of the things that I'm very paying a lot of attention to is how I'm projecting, what I'm saying. I don't want my character to be, she's had horrible things, but I don't want her to be a victim.
Yeah.
I want her to be, wildly and boldly resilient. Like even though a lot of stuff has happened to her, she still pushes through.
Yeah.
She still pushes through. She fights and she fights and she gets down and she goes through things, but she still has tenacity.
Yeah.
And that's how I want her to be. I want her language to be translated in that way. So I don't want to rush myself through it. I want to write it and, be very patient and gracious with myself as I go through the process and do what I need to do and allow it to come out when she's ready for it to be said.
Well, that's an awesome way to go at that. I mean, sometimes when I'm like, that's good. I was just having I was basically having a conversation with myself earlier about, working on this one chapter. And I'm loving how cool and collected you are about that whole thing. I'm like, I gotta finish
Be gracious with yourself.
it. I need to work on
These
that.
are the conversations I have with myself, and that's why I'm expressing them so eloquently, because I'm just like, usually I'm in here pulling my hair out, going, I need to get this done. But I understand it's a process. It's a process, and it took me a long time to get to this place. I didn't get to this space overnight. It took me a long time. It took me to my 30s. Remember, this started happening to me when I was 12. And now I'm, in my late 30s, and I'm telling the story. So it took me, 20 years to get here, to get to a place of healing where with my mind is sound, and I can, speak about it from my heart and from my soul. And I mean, I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to take my time and write it. And then, because I want it to be an amazing book. I think that when, we can tell when an author's rushing through something.
Yes.
When they're trying to get it done, you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't want it to read that way.
Sorry, my dog is barking. I don't know if you can hear him.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, I think it is. I mean, it is important that to remember that, creating something like that and getting all that out on top of it is a process. And being patient with yourself, I'm sure, helps that.
And and that's for anyone who wants to write.
Yeah.
I don't look at, we say author a lot. We've written books.
Yeah.
I don't even look at myself as an author. I look at myself as a muse. I think that I write because I enjoy to write, but I'm not a technical writer. I'm not trained in journalism. I didn't go to school, get a fancy degree. I am a person who was self-taught, and I write, and I've gotten good at writing because I write from a place of authenticity, and it's
passion.
made me better because I've practiced and practiced and practiced because I've written so much. But I just I don't really look at myself as an author. I've written a book, of course, and it's published. But I write when I feel compelled to write. I write when I feel inspired. I'm not, sitting pushing out 4 blog posts a week. I don't have time for it. I'm living my life.
Yeah.
I'm designing and I'm doing other things. And if I feel like writing something because I've been inspired by something I've seen or I've heard or I've smelled or I've touched, then I do. And that's just how, I move through my life. So I think
that's pretty cool.
Sometimes people get caught up in that title.
Yeah.
And they forget why they started writing.
Yeah.
They forget they forget to touch on those very things that excited them about words and expression. And I don't want to get away from that. I want to stay very, very clear and have very clear boundaries about who I am, and not just, I don't want it to feel like a job. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm getting to. I don't want it to feel like a job. I want to enjoy it.
Well, you're giving me some things to ponder later. Well, no, that's awesome. That's really cool. To have that kind of perspective about all of it. I mean, yeah, no, it's awesome. To hear you talk about, with this awesome perspective about all this, it's really inspiring.
Thank you. It's how I feel about it. Yeah. It's how I feel about it. I just feel like too often we get caught up in that title.
Yeah. No, well,
I
forget. Yeah. Why you started doing it in the first place.
I mean, that's one of the things I really enjoyed about being part of the Gravity imprint is there were so many different, people were writers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they, labeled themselves as writers. So it was nothing for them to write, 4 blog posts and it was just their thing. And I was just kind of like, I'm struggling with this because this is feeling too much like a job to me.
Yeah.
Like, It just wasn't what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to write because I felt like writing. I didn't want to have to be on a schedule to write something. And maybe,
Totally.
I'm being immature. I don't know. But,
No, I mean, it's all about, your journey with that and, why you got into it and, you're, it's a personal deal. I mean, years ago, I was just kind of writing at night and on the side. And this past year, I made the switch to writing full time. And that's actually been, a challenge for me to kind of adjust how I do that, you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it is like I think that having that skill, I'm like, you guys are amazing. Me, I'm like, you rock. That's what you do because I can't even think straight to sit and go, okay, I need to write. I have to write when I feel inspired. Like it has to be something that happened in that day. It
Yeah.
has to be something that I saw. It has to be something I feel. I've had to have an experience in order to write it. I just can't come off the top of my head and think of a title. I'm like, I'm like, what do I name it? I don't know. It's what,
Oh,
like I'm
I suck at titles.
I do too. And I think that for me, it's not a job.
Yeah.
And my life is very creative. Like, and I'll speak to that too because in my daytime life, I'm an interior designer.
Oh,
It's,
wow.
it's what I do.
Oh,
So it's a
wow.
very creative job.
It
And
is.
and it's not a job to me. It feels like I enjoy touching fabric and looking at pictures and decorating and like part of a designer's life is
Yeah.
and sensing and looking and admiring. You are a, what is the word that I want to say here? You're not a spectator, but I mean you're an onlooker. That's
Yeah.
what you do. You sit around and you admire things
Yeah.
that are beautiful, and it's no different from looking at a beautiful piece of art. When I finish something, when I work with a client and I finish something, I look at that space as a piece of art. That's exactly how I look at it.
Oh,
And there
definitely.
there is no I don't feel rushed. I don't feel pressured. I take my time and I create that space because I want them to enjoy that. That's what they're going to have to live with. So, I mean, coming from that day to day and having to sit around and go, okay, well, I need to write 400 or 500 words and then it needs to be this.
Yeah,
I just can't do that.
totally. Well, that's really cool that you're a designer.
There, I think that your dreams and going for your dreams I think it's the most profound thing that anyone can do. Most profound thing. Because you know what? For a very long time, and I don't know if this was your experience, but for a very long time, I was told I couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't make sense. That's not practical.
Uh-huh.
Being an artist isn't practical. You can't do that.
No,
You're
totally.
stupid. You're this, you're that. That's what parents do, or that's what people who are abusing your life
Yeah.
do. And it just so happened that my abuser was a parent.
Yeah.
So I never had the opportunity to really go for my dream. I sit around sometimes, I'm like, man, if somebody just would have like
Oh, I
supported
know.
me and cultivated me, I would be like Picasso right now. Like, you know what I mean? If I had that support.
I totally, yeah.
So it's so important. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 85 before you
Yeah.
die. Do the thing you love.
It's
Go
so
for
important.
it. Go for it. And I tell you, I think it's one of the most rewarding things that anyone could ever do.
It really, yeah. I mean, and I've been hacking away at that myself. I mean, I have certain goals and I've been working towards that. And as far as, being a full-time writer, I've known that I wanted to write stories since I was in third grade. And I found out that I could just kind of escape from my, current reality into stories. And so, I'm with you.
That's beautiful. And my thing when I was a kid, guess what I wanted to be?
What?
When I was growing up, I wanted to be a fashion designer.
That's awesome.
I was like, I'm gonna be a fashion designer, and I'm gonna be in the Vogue, and I just had this dream of like I was going to Paris, and I was gonna like be a fashion designer, and so
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not a fashion designer, but
But
I
you're a
kind of,
design.
I'm an interior designer. But you gotta go for the dream, because I tell you, I worked in mental health for a very long time, and
Oh,
after a while, after years and years, I was burnt out,
I bet.
and I didn't enjoy it at all. So I was happy to go back to school.
Nice. Well, I mean, so much. I mean, what you love and filling your bucket as you as it were, like, actually focusing on like what adds to your life. It's so priceless.
Hmm. It is, and it adds to that that place of not having regret.
Mhm.
I read this book a long time ago. I think it was an article I read, and it was about a lady who was a palliative nurse, and she wrote this book about the things that people regret when they die. The biggest things, but they
Yeah.
are. I never got to do the things I want to do. I shouldn't have listened to my family. I should have went for what I wanted to do. And these are people who are all in hospice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, no, totally.
I want to be telling these great stories when I'm an old woman. Like, I went to Mount Everest and climbed it. I mean, like, whatever I want to do. I designed a
Yeah.
mansion for whoever else, and I went to this temple in India and meditated. I mean, like, I want to talk about stuff like that, my adventures, and not the stuff I wish I would have done.
I know. I'm right there with you. I mean, regret is it's a scary concept.
Yeah.
And I'm not down with having that. And I've actually, I've been having to apply that again because as I focus towards building my career, it becomes an issue with dealing with juggling, life, family
Yeah.
life and work and regrets there as well. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I can
just,
totally get that.
it's tough.
It is. This life is. But I will say it's going to be as good as you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. That's so
I
true.
I struggle with anxiety,
So do
and it's
I.
just from old traumas and stuff,
Yeah.
and I've kind of adapted some regimens to help me to cope, but it's there. It's
Yeah.
there, and the best thing I can do, the best thing I could have ever done, is learn how to cope, learn
Yeah.
how to deal with it, and it's gotten a whole lot better than what it used to be, where I can manage very well and very quickly. It can be gone,
Oh, that's
but
great.
I tell you, like, if I was so connected to it like I used to be, I don't know what kind of quality of life I would have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Have you ever struggled with anxiety?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I currently do. It's kind of an issue for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's I would say there's some weeks better than others as far as like how I'm, able to kind of like, either realize that it's anxiety and not actually like, it's inside, not outside kind of thing.
yeah. It's not like you're not gonna die. So
Yeah.
oh
Where
my
it's
god,
like,
I have a heart attack. I'm
everything.
gonna die today. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Uh-huh.
about.
With like, noise gets louder and you have to kind of talk to yourself like, things are not like dire, like
Yeah,
chill
yeah,
out.
yes,
Um,
yes.
but yeah, I mean,
One thing that worked for me, there's three things that I do with my anxiety. There's an essential oil that I work with, from doTERRA, and it's called Past Tense.
oh,
Amazing. If you ever get an opportunity, get Past Tense.
I
It's
love
it,
that
it's
name.
it's an essential oil, and I forget what's in it. You can probably look it up online. But it's something it has a roller thingy, so you
Okay.
can roll it on the back of your neck. That's what you typically do with it, and it works almost immediately. Like, so it's great for anxiety, any nerves, anything. It's really good for that.
Oh,
So that's
nice.
one thing that I do. I use a product called Calm too.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No.
It's a magnesium
Okay.
um, citrate product, and you drink it. So you put it like in hot water, it fizzles, and you drink it,
Oh,
and it's
is it
like
like
a
a tea?
lifesaver. But yeah, well, not quite like a tea, but I mean, I guess it's hot, so I mean, it can be kind of. It's a
Okay.
hot drink, but it's not.
It's not like legit tea, but it's within the
No,
tea
no, it's not.
feeling.
It's it's a more of a it's a holistic, like a remedy or an alternative type of
Okay.
deal. And it's just magnesium. That's all it's in it, and you take it in a very low dose because magnesium in low doses actually helps calm nerves. It's great
Interesting.
for anxiety and
Huh.
all other types of stuff. So I take that sometimes when I'm really, and it's great for sleep. So if you're a person who doesn't sleep because of anxiety and you're still kind of going,
Mhm.
it's good for that.
Oh,
Um,
nice. I don't always have trouble sleeping, but I do have like bouts where I do. It all
yeah,
depends.
yeah, it's really good. It's natural. And another thing, there's some pressure points that I've learned um, that help with anxiety. EFT helps with anxiety. It's emotional freedom technique that I do that, and I meditate. So I mean, there is just that's my regimen. I don't know if it worked for you, but I
Well,
mean, I have a friend who has pretty severe anxiety, like to the point where he can't drive.
oh man.
It gets pretty bad. And I introduced him to Calm. I said, look, just try this. And he tried it, and he was just like, it's a lifesaver. Like it's a
Oh
life. Like he
wow.
completely changed, what was going on in his life at that moment. So I mean, for anyone who is struggling with it, there's so many things that you can do. It doesn't have to be medication based. It doesn't have to be, a Xanax or whatever.
Yeah.
It can be, something that's very holistic. You just have to take the time. You
Exact.
just, yeah, you just have to take the time and be gracious with yourself.
See, that is the thing there, and it's tricky because sometimes, like I don't know if I'd call it my stubbornness or whatever, but it's just like I do. You have to consciously like manage it.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Yes.
it's you know, it's definitely something that needs handling.
And it does, and before, I worked in counseling for a long time, but my background is actually in healing. So I did a lot of, that was how I healed through my stuff. So I went to massage school, learned about Reiki, I became a Reiki master,
Oh,
learned a lot about,
cool.
a lot of chakra healing. And that was my way of healing because I couldn't take meds. So I had to
Yeah.
do it the hard way.
Yeah.
I had to really deal with myself in order to get here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always seeking out the most natural way to deal with stuff because I honestly believe that medication, I mean, for some people it's amazing. That's what they need. But
Yeah.
I also believe that you can take it in conjunction with other things because the whole idea is to get well enough where you don't have to take it every day.
See, that's what I mean. That's what it yeah. You know, it's I'm I've got a complicated, situation with medication just because of, part of the situation as far as, my childhood. It was, let's just, let's do pills and not, anything else.
Right, right.
Um, so I'm with you as far as like the natural approach and, and different things that way. But, it's funny because sometimes like I'll get caught up in whatever day-to-day stuff and I'll kind of just forget that I too, as well as my to-do list, need management.
Yeah, yeah. And everybody's different. Like for me, I couldn't take medication. Um, it made me sick.
Yeah.
So I was on them all. I
Oh,
can remember
wow.
being 12 and or maybe I was a little older, and having my first suicide attempt and bunch of medication ever since.
Oh, shit.
So I mean, I've taken them all. I've taken Prozac. I've taken Zoloft. I've
Yeah.
taken Depakote. I've taken Seroquel. I've pretty much taken them all, with
Yeah.
the exception of lithium. I've taken all these medications. None of them work with you. You know what they did? They made my hair fall out.
Yeah.
They made me sick. They made me gain a ton of weight that I'm
Uh-huh.
still battling to get off to this day. And they made me more suicidal,
Yeah.
honestly. And I felt like I kept getting misdiagnosed because they
Uh-huh.
kept saying, oh, it's depression. Oh, but no one was looking at the trauma.
Yeah.
No one looked at the trauma at
Oh,
all.
man. Oh, really?
They were all bipolar. I'm like, I'm not bipolar. I don't have any of these symptoms. It's like and as they were giving me these different diagnoses, they're throwing pills. My medicine cabinet was so full of drugs, it was crazy.
Well, and it gets intense because then you need like something, something else to counteract the other thing that it's causing. And then like it's just like what am I? But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's that, you know what? I think with conventional medicine, it's so easy to throw a pill. It's just not what it used to be. Even
yeah.
even the not the psychologist, but the psychiatrist
Yeah.
isn't the same. They're
Yeah.
not the same anymore. And I think that's part of what when I used to work in mental health, I was a huge advocate of patient rights, huge advocate. And I would talk to them about medication management. And I would say, you know what? If you're not comfortable taking this medication, understand your doctor works for you.
Yeah.
He works for you. So write down your symptoms. If you're having like, migraines or whatever you're having, you need to know, you need to take control of your well-being. So when you go back to that doctor, you can say at this time and on these days, this was my, this is what I was feeling and I'm not comfortable with this. I'm going to try something else. Or whatever the case, or I don't feel like I should take this medication, or whatever they felt like they needed to do. It's about taking control of your life. And, it's just, mental health is just not the same anymore. It used to be that the doctor wrote down your treatment plan, what you needed to do, and told you what you needed to do, right? Nowadays, we advocate more for ourselves. We
Yeah.
have rights. So we're running our recovery and we're saying, these are the things I want to do. I don't want to do these things, or I don't want to take this medication because this is how it's making me feel, or it's making me gain weight, or it's making me
Right.
whatever. This is what I'm looking for because I've done this research. And I think that that's the key. You have to stay on top of it and you
Yeah.
have to know what the hell you're talking about. Because
Mhm.
if not, you're going to be running in circles. You're
Yeah.
going to be running in circles. You know what I mean? You have to research it. You have to know what's good. You have to listen to your body. That's it also key. Listen to your body. What is it saying to you?
Yeah.
Like, is your body like completely falling apart? Is it hard for you to even function every day because you're on so many meds?
Uh-huh.
Like there's just, I think
It's
that,
still something that needs to be managed even
yes,
though
yes,
the prescription route is taken. It's still something that needs to be on top, that you need to stay on top of.
absolutely. You have to advocate for yourself. Just like with anything, you have to advocate for yourself. And I remember I had a counselor, or he was a case manager, whatever, and he's like, "You have no problems advocating for yourself," because I don't. I really don't. I will
Well,
tell you how I feel, what I'm not gonna do, and because I listen to my gut. I
yeah.
listen to my gut. If it doesn't feel right to me, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. Or yeah, that works for me. Or nope, this is what I heard. I read and I listen because I don't want to be, having some sort of, heart issue or cancer or something from this medication that they're not telling us about these side effects. Like you have to be vigilant,
Yeah.
honestly. You really do.
It's true. And in general, it's good to have your own back.
Oh
Good to
yeah,
listen to that gut.
absolutely.
And it's crazy sometimes when I'll catch myself like not listening to my gut feeling for some reason, and then it's like, well, I should have listened to my gut.
Yeah, yeah, you have to listen to your first mind. That's what the old folks say, and black community, you gotta listen to your first mind. Listen to your first mind, and that's true because that with women we have that whole instinctual thing going on. We have it. We have the spidey sense or whatever you want to call it, the antennas. We know when something's up with our children. We know when something's up in our family. We know it. We
Yeah.
feel it. We feel it. We're feeling people. We're so connected to our families. And you have to be that same connected. You have to have the same connectability to yourself. You really do. You have one life. And I
Yeah.
think that it's sad the amount of people who are dying so young. And I just think that it's crazy. And it's all because of preventable things. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, I see in a lot of communities, and you shouldn't be dying when you're 50. Like, that's really young.
Yeah.
50 years old? Or even 60 years old. Like, been broken down. Like, work yourself to death, stress yourself to death. And, no. I
Mm.
try to really take care of myself as best as I can. I mean, I can always do better. I think everybody can do better.
Yeah.
But, I don't, I just try my best to keep my stress under wraps. And if that means cutting people out of my life, I will.
Yeah.
If that means, whatever I need to do, I'm going to do that thing because my life is more important. I have to keep telling myself my life is more important because I live for too long living for everybody else.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Taking care of yourself is just, the importance of that is just immeasurable.
Absolutely.
Well, Christy, thank you so much for coming in and taking the time and, having a chat with us.
Absolutely. And thanks for letting me talk your ear off because
Oh,
I can go all day about this.
me too. I mean, I love to talk. That's why I'm doing this.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much
Oh,
for,
thank
for
you.
letting me talk
Um,
to you and to your listeners.
oh, definitely. It's been a pleasure. Can you tell everybody where they can find you at?
So you can find me on Facebook as Christy Lynn Abram. I am also on Twitter as Holistic Muse, and that's with a W. And I have a website, and it's ChristyLynnAbram.com. You can find me there. And if you're looking for some interior design, you can find me at ChristyLynnDesigns.com.
Awesome. You hear that, guys? Hit her up. Well, it's been great, Christy. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, that was good stuff, right? Well, thanks for listening. That wraps it up for right now. Don't forget to reach out on Twitter at me Bedingfield at Too Many Words Pod. Talk to me. Let me know what's up. Also, you can listen to the recent chapter of Elliot Granger and the Clueless Brigade on iTunes. You can read it on the Scribbler. And yeah, thanks, guys. Until next time.